I want to welcome you in. We've got Kurt Allen. This is Behind the Blues. And Kurt, I know you're a blues musician. I actually listened to your latest album yesterday. That's live, and you were in Kansas, right?
Yeah, live from the Red Shed. It was recorded in Hutchinson, Kansas. I want to say May of 21 or 22. I know it was released in 22.
I loved it. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, like where you're from. You know, how'd you get into this?
My life, born and raised here, and moved out to a few different places to keep returning home. Music has always been kind of my number one thing. I love music. I've always told people some of my earliest memories where I was probably about 4 or 5 years old, riding around the back of my mom's car, and I would call them. She had a little Honda Accord or something like that from the late 70s, and I'd curl up in the back of the hatch, just curl up in a little ball with my ear next to the speaker, and I'd be listening to Casey Kasem in the top 40 all the time.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, I heard Led Zeppelin's Heartbreaker, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Tell me a little bit about this last album you did.
Well, it was kind of, we were still in the midst of the shutdown for COVID, and we had just released Whiskey, Women, and Trouble in 2020, and our management at the time was talking about, how do you feel about doing a live record? And I was like, yeah, that's great. So tell me about this Red Shed place. Jeff Stevens, who runs the Red Shed, he goes, absolutely, let's do it. So that album was kind of thrown together in about 4 or 5 hours, and we just decided to do it. It was about a week and a half, 2 weeks before the show. We just kind of threw it together and made it happen. So,
like I said, I loved it. Whiskey, Women, and Trouble. Honestly, that was my favorite song out of the album. Also liked Voodoo Queen, which was it's just a cool little groove that you get into.
Right on. Very cool, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, anything that starts with a drum groove like that and then the bass kicks in, I mean, you hooked me. You hooked me right there. I didn't even care about the lyrics. I mean, just the groove of the song. I mean, no offense.
No, that's all right. It's all good. Well, I want the music to be first. The lyrics are just icing on the cake. You don't dance to lyrics.
No, I agree. You have to have that backbone to the song, especially in blues. I mean, to me, it's that background, that foundation, of the blues music. That's what really drives the song, the drums and the bass. And one of the things, I don't know if you agree, but especially in something like the blues and even in rock, it's oftentimes we as guitar players sort of overplay, if that makes sense, where a lot of times to me we should kind of sit back and let them, let the bass and the drums carry that groove. And as a guitar player, we're just kind of accenting on top of that.
Yeah. I've always thought the same thing. Some of the cats that I come up with, some of the old blues musicians here in town, I remember quite a few of them told me, it's not how much you play, it's when or what you play.
That's exactly
like
right.
You said, it's again, the guitar is kind of like I was talking about with the lyrics. It's icing on the cake. It's the cake is the drums and the bass that carries the groove, and you're just putting some sweetness on top of it. Is all you're doing, and too much sweetness, and you can't eat that cake, or you can't stand that cake.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. I've never heard it put quite like that, but I love that. How do you go about coming up with your songs or coming up with the lyrics? Does something come first, or is it just kind of pop in your head? I'm always just kind of interested, as how other musicians come up with, songs and grooves and.
It's different for every song. Sometimes I'll be sitting around having a conversation with somebody. Like, for example, Whiskey, Women, and Trouble, you were saying it was one of your favorites on the album. I was sitting around with my amp tech one day, a buddy of mine that used to work on my amps before he passed away, and we were talking about our vices. And, he said his was cigarettes and beer. And I said, yeah, mine's a whiskey and women.
I got the same vice you
And
do.
all of a sudden, whiskey, women, and trouble. They just popped in my head. And so I'm like, all right, I got to get home and get to a guitar. I got to work something out for this. And, and the whole time, I kept hearing, whiskey, women, and trouble on my mind. So it led me to that kind of that big band swing feel. So, the groove and the melody to go along with it, it had to have that bounce.
Yeah, no, and that lick that you throw on top of that, like I don't know if you have a guitar handy.
Yeah.
So that's in the key of C, right?
It's C sharp. You're going to start there on your A sharp, roll to your B flat, and go to your E flat and push it up a half step. And end on the C sharp.
I got you. Yeah.
And then it's just stabs on your C sharp.
Yeah, it's just a cool little groove that you get into. And I love that lick. And one thing that you do really well, that a lot of guitarists, especially amateur guitarists, don't do, is you keep a theme with the guitar through the song, like a recurring lick or a recurring theme that kind of grounds and ties everything together.
Well, yeah, it's again, that kind of goes back to, was always taught and always thought you should play the song. Not
Agreed.
So much, don't just go noodling off and showing off what you can do. Play the song, play to the rhythm, stay within the song. Because, if I was over there doing,
right,
doing some Eddie Van Halen tapping on that song, it doesn't work. It's just going to sound cluttered and muddy, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And I mean, that's a great lesson for, any guitarist, is sometimes simple is better, or sometimes keeping to that same theme. I mean, in other words, a lot of times people think that we have to come up with all these different licks and shove them into a song, but that's not actually the case. I mean, sometimes just that recurring lick. I mean, Buddy Guy was great at that, Muddy Waters, B.B. King. I mean, all those greats, they'll use that one lick to tie everything together.
Right. Well, and that's a lick for me. I can do multiple different things with that lick. So there's a little lead line in there. And it's all still right there in that same area. It sounds different,
right,
but it's using those exact same notes pretty much.
Right, just playing around making...
I'm sorry, what's that?
No. I mean, I love that. And that's one thing, I try to tell people on this channel is take one little lick that and try to find as many variations of it as you can, as many different ways to play it. And to me, at least, like it might sound like, a guitarist has thousands and thousands of licks, but really we just have a handful and we just know 1,000 different ways to play them.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm always looking for different stuff and trying to find different licks and coming up with different licks myself. But, there's a time and place for all of them. So because from a different song, I might want to get an entirely different feel. Like, Wish You Women in Trouble, that's more of a happy feel.
Right.
We get into something like Graveyard Blues, and that's more of a nasty feel. So that happiness isn't going to work. I'm always searching for as many licks or different stuff, because even through an hour and 15-minute set that we might play, or a 3-hour set, you get bored. If you're only using a handful of licks, you start to bore yourself after a while.
A lot of people have this sort of romanticized idea of what it's like to be a guitarist or a musician or have a band and travel around. And I know you travel around the country playing lots of places. What is it like to actually be a traveling musician? Is it as glamorous as they think it is?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's something that you have to absolutely love it and really want to do this, because there's really nothing glamorous about it. There's lots of gas station food. There's lots of very seedy motels. There's always some interesting, if you don't like traffic, stay off the road because we're always stuck in traffic jams. There's always road work everywhere we're going. And there's just countless obstacles that come up all the time. Like, one of our obstacles that we're going to face here in just a couple of weeks or so, we play on Rockland, Maine on a Monday night. And we've got to be in New Orleans, Louisiana on Thursday.
Man, that is a drive.
So that's, if you look at it on the GPS, it says 1 day and 2 hours. So, and we've got a gig in Knoxville, Tennessee on Wednesday. So we've got, we're basically going 1,600 miles in 2 days and playing a show in there too.
And is it worth the money?
Yeah. It's worth the money, but more than anything, it's worth doing what I love doing.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to get rich doing this. If I was trying to get rich, I'd have picked a different career. I love doing this. I don't answer to nobody. I get to do what I love to do. I would rather spend 16 hours in that van going to play a 3-hour show than punch a clock for 8 hours.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize, like at least around here, they want to pay somebody $100 to come play for 4 hours, but they don't understand it's an hour to load stuff into the car, however long it takes to drive there, an hour to unload it and set it up, and then you play for 4 hours, tear it all down, drive back home, pack it into the house. I mean, you're talking at least an 8-hour day sometimes.
Well, and you're not even taking into consideration the years and years and years worth of practice and dedication. To be
absolutely. Thousands of hours.
To get on stage in front of people. And I know many people, I've met many musicians over the years that have never played on stage because there's the stage fright part for a lot of people.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
There's so many factors that go into it that, the individual that hasn't ever played a show or played an instrument doesn't grasp. It's not like Guitar Hero. You can press a couple buttons and you got a song.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I don't know about you. I don't particularly enjoy solo shows. I play them, because the money's good. I enjoy playing with the band, but it makes me, if I'm up there all by myself, I do get a little bit of stage fright, a little kind of embarrassment of being up there, all eyes kind of focused on you, all the mistakes, they're all on you. I don't know how you feel about that one.
I don't like solo shows. I never really thought about it as far as, the all eyes on me or making mistakes because I made a short little mistake in that song that we were playing. I just did my best to cover it up. Mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Any musician that tells you they don't ever make mistakes, they're lying. We make mistakes all the time. It's just how well you can cover them up. For me, the biggest thing with not wanting to do solo shows or doing very few solo shows, I miss the power, the energy of a band behind me. That drive, because a lot of times that's where influence comes out. I'm not going to say we're a jam band, but we're kind of loose when it comes to solos every night. The meat of the song is going to be the same, but when it gets into solo time, it's kind of, one night the groove might be, and the next night it could be, and it's an entirely different feel. It could go from something like to. So it's all about the feeling. I've always related it to I'll joke and I'll when I'm introducing the guys on in the band on stage, I'll say, "And driving the bus on the drums," because the rhythm section drives every song every night. So
Absolutely.
If it's faster one night or a little bit slower or got a little extra pop to it, it changes everything and completely different feel. So.
Yeah, and to me,
I love the difference.
Oh yeah, I do too. And the audience, oddly enough, to me, plays a huge part in how these songs flow.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. You know, if again, that's one of the things that, you know, everyone that says, "Oh yeah, I play in front of 20,000 people every night." No, you know, you and I both know there's been plenty of shows where there's two people there and one of them's the bartender, and
Yep.
there's plenty of shows when you're playing in front of 1,000 people, and it
Right.
makes an entire. And there's places where there might be 500 people there and they're not really paying attention to you.
Right.
You know, they could be just there having dinner or whatever. So the interaction with the crowd, that, yeah, it makes a huge difference on stuff like that. Uh, when the crowd is dancing, when they're receptive to you, there's another gear that we hit.
Absolutely.
It just kind of goes into overdrive. So
Yeah. So if you were going to give some piece of advice on what guitarists should do, as far as like trying to learn the fretboard or things they should practice, what would you say some of the most important things are?
you know, if they come to you as acoustic guitar, number one, because it strengthens up your fingers so much more. You go from, you get to where you can fret all the chords and stuff like that on an acoustic guitar. When you switch over to electric, it's like cutting butter with a hot knife.
Yeah, it is
You know,
a lot easier.
It's so much easier. The resistance on an acoustic guitar versus an electric guitar is going to give you better dexterity for your fingers. Past that, you know, I always try to tell people, you know, just learn at least a little bit of theory, you know, in your music, so that at least, you know, if you're playing a D chord, know the three chords that make up, or the three notes that make up that chord. You know, A chord,
D, F
whatever.
sharp, and A. Yeah.
And right, and then if you only know one scale, at least, you know, preferably that major scale, because everything is built off of that. And make mistakes. You're going to learn so much from making mistakes.
How would you describe like the kind of music you play? Would you think of it as just hardcore blues or blues and rock? I mean, if you were going to paint yourself in a box, what box would you paint?
Funky blues. I would say funky blues. You know, 'cause I'm highly influenced by funk just as much as I am blues. And you know, we've had people jam with us over the years, and you know, usually they'll pull me or one of the guys aside, and they go, "Man, you guys are a lot funkier than I expected." So, you know, but then that goes back to getting people dancing, getting people moving. You know, it's kind of got to be a little funky, in my opinion. Somebody listed us as Bayou Swamp Funk. So if I had to paint myself in a box, I like that one.
Yeah, I read that on your website, and I was like, that's a cool little description. If you have to pick one.
Yeah, Bayou Swamp Funk. I don't know what that is, but I like it. We're starting our own genre right here. Bayou Swamp
Right.
Funk.
And who would you? I mean, you mentioned influences. What kind of bands, musicians, influenced you? Say more than some. I mean, I know it's a laundry list, but just off the top of your head.
I guess my two biggest influences would be Alvin Lee and 10 Years After, and Rory Gallagher.
Wow.
Would probably be my top two.
Yeah, and so with Rory, what is it about his playing that you actually admired so much?
Well, he could speak through the guitar, and there was just so much uncontrolled energy coming. I mean, if you've ever seen any videos of Rory Gallagher, it's like he's jumping out of the phone or out of the computer screen. I remember one time, this is probably, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, we were on the road, and I had my bass player at the time. I was like, all right, we're going to listen to this album. It's Rory Gallagher live in New York City, 1974, I think it was. The story is they played before Aerosmith, and Aerosmith got booed off stage afterwards. I played the whole album for him in the band, and he goes, how do you follow that?
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want us to be.
Tell people where they can find you and your music again, website.
Okay. Yeah, once again, for all of our upcoming shows, links to our music, it's kurtallenmusic.com, KurtallenMusic.com. We hope to see everybody out there, some shows, pick up some merch. We've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up, so check us out. We'll see you.
For those who are wanting to get into music, just from your perspective, what's the best way, to sort of get in it, get some bookings, start playing?
Well, what I've always done is just, and I don't have to work as hard at it anymore, but when I first started booking my own stuff, 35 years ago, it was squeaky wheel gets the grease. I would just keep calling, just keep bugging people. There's a lot more venues or avenues for people to get shows now. There didn't used to be YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and all that stuff when I was a kid. When, for us it was you got up, you went down to a venue, you played for free for a little bit. If the club owner liked you, he might give you a shot.
Yeah.
Now people can, they don't have to leave their house. They can put stuff on TikTok or X or whatever, and people will come calling them if they've got 10,000 followers.
Right. Yeah.
Just keep working. Don't give up. Keep doing your TikTok, your X, your YouTube channels, and if that's working for you, keep up with it. But don't forget what it all is. It should be the music first. It's if you're out to get famous, you're in the wrong business.
Absolutely. Well, Kurt, like I said, I've really enjoyed it. Stay in touch with me. I'll help you out in whatever way I can. I'd love to have you back.
Yeah, definitely.
And do an actual guitar lesson with people, show some licks that you're working on, some ideas you think are core, that people have to know. Because like I said, that's what this channel is. We're almost 20,000 people here on this channel. And then I've got almost 70,000 on TikTok, just based around guitar and blues and rock. And, people just, they're dying to learn to play. But to me, we got YouTube now. There's no excuses. You can learn anything that you want, unlike it was when I was a kid and probably when you were little too.
Yeah, it was, we'd call into, at least I would call into the radio station, wait for 3 or 4 hours for them to play that song, be sitting by my radio to record it,
and then push record
over and over again until you can figure out what they were doing. Then, Mom, my tape got eaten. I need more.
Yep. Well, Kurt, before it cuts it off, I want to say thank you. You want to jump on and, do something on YouTube, the platform is yours.
Sounds good, man.